Hello. This is a video mainly for VT on the Discord, the CC Discord, but I'll leave this public so others can watch it as well if they wish to do so. But yeah, this is a little special thing I'm gonna do just for VT specifically, or not Victor, or the guy who made the Demon Realm and all that jazz. Um, he's asked me to go over this level Indigo Platoon of his set VTLP1. Wanting feedback on this level specifically. And it's been a while since I've gotten to record anything, and I apologize. Obviously, there's a lot of crap happening in the world right now, and I'm trying to keep up with it, and I just straight up just don't have the time or really motivation to do the Walls of CCLP1 review at this moment, but I will get to it as soon as I transfer my solution files over to this new laptop that I'm recording on for the first time. Anywho, that's another story. Let me get into this video. So, VT has asked me to go over this level, like play it and gather thoughts on it, and he wanted to know what my thoughts were on this level. I put it off for a while, admittedly, but I had time tonight after I got off work, and I opened this up. I played it a little bit. I didn't solve it, but I played enough of it and knew what I was missing to where I had enough information to kind of gather my thoughts on the level, to kind of give him some idea on what I think of this. And I'm making a video of it because I feel like it's easier to explain it in a video than to type out bit by bit what I liked, what I disliked, and what I think could be improved, or what I think is already good. So, without further ado, this is Indigo Platoon. It's a level in VTLP1, has 12 chips that are all needed, a time limit of 999, and there's a lot going on in this level. The very first time I opened up this level here in the editor, and first being asked what my thoughts were on this, I just didn't know what to say or think about this, because these connections are just all over the place. Some of them are logical, but a lot of them are not. And that's still kind of a gripe of mine I have with this, I will be honest here. So again, some of these are really evident, like this one to here. That it makes total sense. Or these ones to the Sokoman. That all makes sense. But and even these, this line of 5 with these 5 traps down here, that makes sense as well. But stuff like this right here, where this trap button connects to 226, which is right there, but this trap right here at 129 connects to this one way up here. Now, I have no idea how a blind player would figure this out. Like, when I was trying to solve it, or when I was playtesting it, I actually had to have this map open to figure out what went where. And in my opinion as a level designer, if you have to have the level open in the editor just to know what to do or figure out what to do, that can mean one of two things. One, you made one hell of a difficult puzzle, or two, you made the puzzle arbitrarily difficult, or you made the connections arbitrary. This one in the corner right here, I feel like can be improved. After playing it, it kind of makes sense why it's like this. But I would highly have some kind of indicator, whether it's a hint or an item or something, to prevent the player from pressing this button. Because this is what you have to do. So you start right here, you go through this teleport, which comes out here. Now once you go down the teleport, you can't get back up into this room. You have to partial post with I presume this block cloner, which isn't connected to here. I should have this open. So these are not connected. A blind player would naturally expect these to be connected right here because it's right next to the cloner. No, this red button connects to this fireball cloner. And this red button connects to the block cloner. I don't understand the purpose of this fireball cloner. I guess I see the purpose of it. It hits this button to clone a block. But you have to come here anyway. I presume you have to come here anyway to get the fire boots. I haven't played that much. I didn't get that far. The farthest I've gone is I've gotten every chip but one, and this chip right here I couldn't get because I didn't know how to cover these 3 buttons up. I asked VT how to do it, and the way you do it is a little mean, in my honest opinion, especially with this room. Now, you go down here, and you start right here, and you have a choice. And it's not, thankfully, it's not one that really harms you. You can go down and do the level as normal, or you can go this way and go through this thing, which is easy. And you're presented with the skates, which you don't know if you need to collect or not. But there's no immediate use anywhere in this section, so you just leave them alone. So you can go in here and solve this Sokoban. The Sokoban is legit. I really like this Sokoban. I questioned if it was solvable. That's how good it was. So, even though it's adapted, I don't have anything against adapted Sokobans. I've used them myself in levels of mine in the past, so I have nothing against adapted Sokobans, like ones like Jeffrey, for example, would. The Sokoban is legit. You solve the Soakman, you get the yellow key, and clear this dirt, because you're going to need to in order to get to the exit. And you can get out. And then you basically shut off the toggling so you can collect the red key. And then you get this red button, which connects to this block cloner, which fills in water, so you don't have the fatal mistake of it being a bomb and hitting it twice and blocking this path up altogether, which is nice. That's a good thing to have. And it's also obvious that it's a block cloner since it's in a corner. So that's good. Down here, these ball cloners, I think if this was my level, I would make these tank cloners, and maybe that's not a good idea with the amount of tank button presses you have to do in this level and cause the Frankenstein glitch in MS. I don't know. But it's not exactly obvious that these are face down, but maybe maybe that might be okay since you kind of have to go down here anyway. So that makes sense. And then you come down here to this section right here, this cloner maze type thing. Now this is an interesting section because it's actually on a timer. You have a timer for the fireball cloners, and you have a limitation on the tank button uses. So it's explained in the hint that the left button clones 5 fireballs, 1 every 2.4 seconds. The right button flips tanks 3-time use. Be careful with your red keys. Traps close to the yellow doors have no connections. So that's a very lengthy hint. I don't think that fit in the MSCC window, but that's just a fun tidbit. That's not important. I honestly think this section alone could be its own level. Like, you have 2 pretty good concepts fused together in a really fairly small section. So if I were you, VT, I would replace this section with something different, and I would actually copy this level into its own level and make this its own level, because the idea behind this is cool, but I believe this doesn't really mesh well with the rest of the level. It's just kind of here. That being said, though, I'm not sure how to do it properly. So I was able to blow up all the bombs necessary to get the chips, but this one right here confuses me. Like, what's the point of this right here? I still don't get it. I haven't asked you privately yet, so I don't know what this is about. I know there's a block cloner right here, and you can't extract blocks unless you clear this up, but what's the purpose of the block cloner here once you're done with this section? One thing I did do was I got a fireball cloned to be down here, and I would leave it there, and I'd hit the glider release to go this way and go back to blow that up. I don't know if that's correct or not. That's what I did, and that seemed to work, so that's what I stuck with. That did leave this bomb unblown up, though, if I cleared this up. But I don't think this right here is even needed. I don't think this block cloner has anything to do. Oh, ignore that. That's my brother. I don't think this stuff right here, this block cloner, I don't think it needs to be here. I don't understand why it's here to start with. So I would just remove this altogether. And then you come here to this section right here. Now, I explained that this is here. So the ultimate goal of the level is to clear this path right here, not collect that chip. This chip being right here, I think, is very, very dirty. Because once you collect it, you basically screw the level. And it's so early placed that you have absolutely no idea you have to get fireballs cloned down this to go in this room right here to either flood the room or get them on the force floors, which I don't know how you're going to be able to do that, because you can get them on the force floors, but they're just going to loop around. So I don't understand how to do this section properly. So in order to get the chip behind these traps, you have to somehow blow this up and get the tank to come up here and get this block and this block right here and right here respectively, and have the tank bounce back and forth like this in order to get that chip. In order to get block right here and right here, you have to bounce it off this. And that just seems a very, very, very wrong. I don't think that's a good design decision. If I can be blunt about it, that might be mean. I don't mean for it to be mean, but just as a designer to another designer that wants to improve, I don't think that's a very wise design choice. The idea is cool, but with a level like this, I don't think it's necessary. Like this right here, this is fine because it's obvious, don't clear the dirt. And you can just bounce the block off the dirt. That's simple. This, you have this thing. You have to get fireballs all the way through this. When you're right here, you have no idea what you're even doing in the level still. So, and this is coming from someone who played this level blind a couple of times and ended up looking at the map of this just to finally figure out what the hell to do. That's something I don't like doing when I play levels for the first time, is resort to looking in the editor. I feel like what makes for a good level is not resorting to look in the editor. If you don't want your players to resort to looking in the editor, you have to make stuff like button connections or something along those lines a little bit more evident. And with the amount of the amount that this level has is just it feels like a lot. It feels overwhelming. After playing it a couple of times, it's not as overwhelming, but it still is in its own way. Like this isn't the worst level I've ever played. It's nowhere close to that. I'm not saying this is a bad level. I'm not necessarily saying it's a good one either, but I can see a lot of improvement. Like I can see this level getting vastly improved. And that's what this video is for, is to provide this feedback for you and take it how you will and improve the level or make changes as you see and go from there. So when you're in this section, you have no idea you have to get fireballs into this room. So you're naturally going to collect that chip, and once you do that, like I said, the fireballs are just going to go straight down and drown here. I'll respond to you here shortly, or I already did at this point. So you screwed a level, and you have no idea about it until you get to this section right here, and you just don't know. So I would replace this chip with I would just put gravel here. Like I would straight up just put gravel here. I wouldn't even make this an option. It just feels like one of those CCLP3-esque things, and I know that's the type of levels you like to design, and I respect that decision, but this just feels a little bit unnecessary. The block on the blue wall here is fine. Not much you can really do wrong with that. This room right here, this thief room, I like this idea. This idea is really cool. I don't think this needs to be changed at all. Although one thing I didn't realize you had to do was you actually have to save 2 blocks out of this and not 1, because you need a block to go through this teleport in order to partial post to get that chip. Now, in order to partial post this, which connects right here, you have to get the tank out from where it is right here to go through and be part of the partial post. Now, with knowing that what you have to do with the tank with this, I have absolutely no idea how you're supposed to get the block out of the way. In fact, I think that's what these are for. Now that I really see it. So you'd use a block to fill that in. The block would go right there, or the tank would go right there. Actually, I don't know how that works. Well, whatever. But point is, you have to partial post to get right here. Now, once you get in here, you get the chip. You hit this red button, which connects to this fireball cloner, which hits 2 more red buttons that connect to a block cloner right here, which clones a block onto another block, and a glider cloner, which just goes straight to the trap, which basically lets you partial post back out. This doesn't seem necessary. You can just replace this with a simple bomb and get rid of this button connection altogether. And likewise with this right here. It makes it more complicated than it needs to be, and I don't think that's needed. You can just replace this with a simple bomb or something along a water tile, and you still get the same results because you still use the block, and that's the ultimate purpose, is you still need to use the block. And I think using it to partial post and have these bizarre connections that let you partial post back out, I don't think that's needed. So I would get rid of this as well. I would just replace this with a bomb. That way you can still use the block like you very clearly want. So I would just replace it with a bomb and go from there and get rid of these button connections and move on. So this section down here, like I pointed out, This button connects to this trap right here, and this trap connects to this button way up here. Again, I don't know how you're supposed to figure that out. I would make it a little bit more evident somehow. One thing I do when I have button connections in my levels that seem like they're arbitrary, I try to make them evident, or evident to what they are. And a prime example of this would be to use pink balls. You can put a ball in this trap right here and a bomb right next to it. What that would do is that would eliminate the purpose of going through this pop-up wall. And thus you don't press this button because you're trapped by the ball. So that eliminates this whole possibility. If there was a ball trapped right here with a bomb next to it. That way when you do press this button, you would hear the bomb go off and you immediately would know, oh, that's the ball that I saw earlier. So this is what this button connects to. So things like that is what I would do. You can do that if you want, but that's what I would do. And then this section with the paramecium, it's self-explanatory. It's one of the only self-explanatory things in this level. This along with the Sokoban and kind of with this section down here. Otherwise, this is a very basic thing. It feels like it's here to be here. This room right here with the gliders, it works, but I don't think it really fits with the level. Again, it kind of does, but I don't know. I died to this a couple times, and I don't think it's a good thing. I think there could be a better way to handle this, because what the gliders do is they end up blowing up these bombs, but you also use them to press these buttons right here, and lets you get this yellow key. And these blocks on the walls, you push this one up and this one down. That way you block this path off, so gliders can't go up here yet. And you use the block right here to put it somewhere right here, and encircle this whole thing. That way you get this yellow key. You come back, you push this block into the water, not pack down the dirt. You leave it as dirt. Then you move the block that's right here somewhere, right here. Or you make the gliders bounce off and go this way, around, down here, and blow these bombs up. And lets you get the yellow key and the green key. I'm not thinking too much about links right here, but this green key might want to be moved someplace else. I would probably put it right here, just to that way, because green keys are acting walls in links, so the glider would just bounce off this and go backwards again. And I don't know, that just doesn't seem like a very friendly thing to do. So once you get these, presumably you have your 3 yellow keys to unlock these locks. But then you're wondering, well, what do I do now? So you'd use the other block that you had left over on this side right here to pack the dirt down, then put that block on this trap button, which connects to here and lets you push the block through to teleport to partial post to get a single chip and come back out. And then you go all the way back, and yeah, you still have these skates untouched, so you have no idea what these are for. You come back, you clear these yellow doors, 2 of which have to be cleared out right here. Otherwise, you have to backtrack all the way to clear them. Unlock that one, fill that dirt in after pressing this button, and you clone fireballs to clone in here. So then you have this section right here. Now, like I said, what VT told me was to bounce the blocks off to put them in their respective spots. But My concern is you already used the tank to partial post, so how are you supposed to do this? And I don't see a way you can do that, admittedly enough. I don't think this level is even solvable. He says it is. He said he solved it, but you have to use the tank to partial post, right? So, but you can't. Well, I guess that's what these skates are for, huh? Okay, never mind. I take that back. Either way, you use the fireball right here to blow that up, and I'm not sure why, but you have to do that. And by this point, you should have all the chips. So you go back here to collect the fire boots, and again, I don't even know if you need them or not, but we'll just assume you do. And hit this to push 2 blocks up this teleport to partial post off this. The tank is right there. And then use the blue key to hit this. The tank comes up, hits and holds that down for you. You push the block into the bomb, and then you exit. That is how you presumably solve Indigo Platoon, if that made any vocal sense at all. So, to recap, I would take this section out right here, make it its own level, because it's a legit idea. I just don't think it belongs in a level like this. This thief section is neat. I like the way this plays out. This teleport right here could easily be replaced by a bomb and accomplish the same result and not be so convoluted like this. This block sliding thing, I think that's I don't like that. I never would have figured that out. I think if I played this level and not asked UVT for help on this or what to do with filling these trap buttons held down, I don't think I ever would have figured out you have to use the force floor to be filled up to slide the blocks off of it. I don't think I ever would have figured that out. And as experienced as I am with this game, and I couldn't figure out a level like this on my own, I think that kind of says there's some design flaw with that idea. And I think if this was right here, just right here, exactly like that, it accomplishes what you want and not be so convoluted, so hidden about it. Because again, I had no idea until I was at this point in the level when I got all the yellow keys. I had no idea you had to get the fireballs through this corridor and into here. I saw the corridor that led to here, but I looked at the room and I'm thinking, why would you want fireballs in there? And even after the reasoning, I still don't get how that would help you, because even when they do get on this force floor slide, they're not stuck on here unless the ball is up here, which it does go there, so I guess that's part of it, but still, you have no idea about it. The teeth just kind of makes it seem like a random room. Like it's just random teeth just roaming around this room for no reason. The other thing about this, in MS, there's a ton of slide delay. There's a ton of slide delay. This ball right here causes it. This right here causes it because of this mechanism this level uses. This right here causes it. This right here causes it. Which this makes sense. This makes sense. And in the context of how this section works, it makes sense why this is here. But there's a ton of slide delay in this level, and it's because of the mechanisms that tie into this section right here. Which again, I would make this into its own level and call it good, because this is a really fun idea. Just with a level as expansive as this, with all this button connection stuff, it's just a mess. And I don't understand what this is about either, again. What to do to improve it? I'll be blunt about it. I would rebuild it I would rebuild it from scratch. I would use what you have right here, this whole level. I would use what you have right here as like a blueprint of the kind of level that you want, but you want to make it better. This is something I did in the early Josh L2 and early Josh L3 days. Even, I want to say I even did this with Josh L4 as well. Things I would do would be, if I wanted to make a level and I had no idea how to execute it, I would make practice levels of the concept. And I would see how it worked out. And this is kind of why JCCLP Rejects has these random test things out of nowhere, because that's what these levels were. They were reject test levels to see if what a concept would work or not. And then until I got that concept the way I wanted it, and that's when I would build the level. So there's nothing wrong with having a level prototype and then working off that prototype to make the product that you want. I think what you have here is a solid start with what you want. There's a lot of good things in this level, a lot of not so good things in the level, but in general there's a lot of potential, especially with the difficulty. You mentioned the time limit thing because of the Sokoban up here. The Sokoban is fine, and the only reason why I think it's okay is because you can do it. You have the option to do it first, which is very nice. So I like that. I like that part of it. You can come in here and do the Sokoban first. I don't know if that was a change you made at some point before this or whatnot, but I like the fact you can do that first. So the Sokoban is not so much of the issue with me. I actually like the Sokoban. But that's basically my thoughts on the level, if they made any sense. I've never done a video like this before, so take it how you will. I hope it was helpful for you. There was no way I was going to be able to type all this. That's why this video was a thing. So, yeah, you got a lot of good ideas here, man. I would just I would use it as like your prototype and kind of build off it from there and make it into the masterpiece that you want. I know you've told me you're very proud of the way this level is. And I think you were a little disappointed when I didn't include it in my realm set, which are things, by the way. But after playing it and giving you this criticism, that's kind of why I didn't include it in my thing. So, not that I hate the level, it's just I know it can be a lot better. And I know you as a designer have the potential to make it that way, so go for it. I definitely do. I absolutely encourage you to do so. Got a lot of good ideas here. So, yeah, use this as your prototype. Go from there. Build off it from there. And, yeah, I don't think there's nothing else that really stands out here about this. I mean, the walker in this room is kind of awkward, but it's not inherently bad, so I'm not too bothered by it. But that's just what I would do. I hope it all made sense to you, and sorry if it came off as unnecessarily harsh. That's the last thing I want to do. So, yeah, I hope this was helpful for you, and for those that are this video that this is not for, I hope you enjoyed watching this if you did, and I hope you guys take care with this coronavirus crap going around and be safe and healthy and everything. And I will record when I can. I'm okay and healthy, by the way. Our state is on lockdown right now, so I'm okay. I'm totally fine. But until then, I'll see you guys later, and hope this was helpful for you, VT.